What is going on, Falcons fans? Logan here. Welcome back to Rise Up Rundown, and if you're new here, welcome. So I wanted to make this video because not only, by the way, will I not be able to make a video for this Friday, but also I want everyone to know exactly what this 2019 Atlanta Falcons team is. And I truly do feel like you're never going to find any other Falcons podcast, articles, Falcons anything that seriously goes that deep into depth on who this team is. And I wanted to do that for you guys. I hope you guys agree with everything I say here. And without further ado, let's get into the 2019 Atlanta Falcons. Now, I do want to put out there, I don't think I've ever freestyled talking about the Falcons for this long, so if I stumble and struggle to think of what to say next, just bear with me here. But I feel like it's the proper thing to do if I start this off by talking about what happened last year and then explain why this year's team is better than last year, so I think I'm just going to go ahead and do that. We all know what happened with the 2018 Falcons. We were just devastated with a bunch of injuries, which is weird because the Falcons are always known for being one of the more healthier teams in the league, but last year was just a little unfortunate for us. And the offensive and defensive coordinators we had at the time, simply put, were not going to work out for us. But heading into 2019, not only are we having a lot of players come back healthy, hopefully, knock on wood, but we have a switch at offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator. Dirk Cutter will step in as offensive, and Dan Quinn will step in as defensive coordinator while also still being head coach. But we'll get into the coaching staff later on in the video. I want to talk about the players first. And it all starts with the quarterback, Matt Ryan. And I will be the first to admit I was wrong about him. I don't know if you remember when I made that really bad video about me saying that Matt Ryan was not a future Hall of Famer. Well, I was wrong about that. Not only do his stats back it up, but literally Tony Gonzalez, during his Hall of Fame speech, said that Matt Ryan was going to be in the Hall of Fame. And that's coming from, well, a Hall of Fame player. So Matt Ryan is a for sure Hall of Fame quarterback, whether you like it or not. He is an accurate thrower. He has a great arm. He's a great motivator, a great leader. He is the most important part of this team, in my opinion. If he goes down, if you want my honest take on what happens if Matt Ryan goes down, the season's over. That's my take. If Matt Ryan's down, I seriously do not have that much confidence in Kurt Benkert and Matt Schaub to actually become the next Nick Foles and just win the Super Bowl for us. It's just not happening. I do like Kurt Benkert, but I don't think he'd ever be a franchise quarterback, or at least he wouldn't be in Atlanta. He'd be somewhere good, somewhere else. But in Atlanta, he's a good second-string quarterback. And Matt Schaub, he'd be a good third-string quarterback. He's definitely a little old, and he has fallen off a little bit, but I still would give him a little bit of time. Maybe he's not totally washed up yet. To be fair, he is throwing to receivers that just aren't going to play at all, or heck, some of them won't even make the roster, so I wouldn't freak out on Matt Schaub just yet, but at the same time, I seriously don't trust him to be the next Matt Ryan because, well, he never will. So Matt Schaub and Kurt Benkert are not going to... I just doubt they're going to make the next Nick Foles story. I'm having trouble saying that. I doubt they're going to be the next Nick Foles and win the Super Bowl for us. We got to keep Matt Ryan healthy. Moving on to the running back, we have Devonta Freeman. He's a fun player to watch. He's quick. He has very quick feet. He's strong. He's so small, so it's kind of hard to tackle him. He's a great player on and off the field, but the problem with him, he cannot stay healthy. I don't think there's been 1 year when he was a starter as a Falcon. I don't think he's ever missed a year without an injury. Like, I don't think that. I think his whole life as a starting Falcon player, he's had an injury every single year. So, do I actually expect him to be healthy the whole entire year? No, it's not going to happen. He's going to miss at least 2 games. But when he is in, he's a very good player to watch. This is the scary thing, though, about the running back situation. The Falcons retweeted something about how Dan Quinn doesn't know the second-string running back situation yet, and that surprises me because I thought it was going to be Ito Smith for sure. And I like Ito Smith. Ito Smith, I thought, had a really good year last year. He's quick and a little shifty.
He's small, but I don't think that matters too much. So my guess is that it'll be Ito Smith that takes the second string spot. I think he's a very good player. I do like Quadre Ollison. He'll probably get in on a third down just so they can kind of punch it in on a dive. Every other running back like Tony Brooks, James, and Brian Hill, I don't expect anything from them. But it's going to either be Ito Smith and Quadre Ollison to be the second string running back. Again, my guess is that it's Ito Smith. But I do like Ito Smith and Quadre Ollison, but just not as the starting running back. Devonta Freeman kind of took that spot, but he's just got to stay healthy. Moving on to the receivers, we don't have a lot to talk about here. Julio Jones is just Julio Jones. Calvin Ridley, you all know how high I am on him. He's an awesome receiver. I don't care if people complain that he drops balls. You can coach a player to catch a ball, so it's really not that big of a deal. He's got great route running skills. He's quick. I think he's a very talented receiver, and we're so fortunate to have drafted him. And, I mean, why would he not ball out? Matt Ryan's obviously going to want to get the new guy going anyway, so it's not like he's just not going to be targeted at all. Look, Matt Ryan wants to get this new guy going, just like how the whole Falcons staff does every time a new player enters year 2. I don't know why this happens, but the Falcons, have you noticed that every time a player enters year 2, they like totally ball out? Tevin Coleman did not have a good year 1, and then he balled out year 2. Vic Beasley did not have a good year 1, led the league in sacks year 2. Now, it's not that Calvin Ridley had a bad year 1, but I think he's going to totally ball out in year 2. So, I mean, I'm just letting you know. I think Calvin Ridley is going to totally break out. I think he's a sleeper pick in fantasy. He is just that good. Now, is he going to be better than Julio Jones? No. But he's going to be a good second option at receiver. And then there's Mohamed Sanu, who I do really like. I think he's a great receiver, a great run blocker. He can even play quarterback and kicker. He can really do it all. But I do expect a lot less production from him. Not a lot less playing time, but a lot less production from him because they obviously want to get Calvin Ridley going and they want to get Julio Jones involved. So I do expect a lot less production from Mohamed Sanu, but when he does get the ball, I think he's going to be just fine. And then the other receivers like Justin Hardy, Russell Gage, Marcus Green, they're all just kind of special teamers. The tight end position, they have Austin Hooper, and I get that every offseason he like works out to get better, and it does pay off. Like he's usually like 1% better every year, and he'll have some flashes like he did against the Bears week 1 where he had like that stiff arm and went all the way for a touchdown. He'll have his moments, but I still don't see I don't see his full potential yet. Like he just has not turned into the player that we're all kind of hoping he is. He's just kind of average at best in my eyes. He will probably be 1% better like he always does every year. He just gets better, which is good. I'm not saying I want him to not get better, but I just can't fall for the whole, oh, Austin Hooper is going to finally break out. I just can't believe that yet. I got to see it to believe it. Every other tight end like Eric Saubert, Luke Stalker, I don't know if I want to talk about them. They're just not really going to be a big factor on this team. So we got to make sure Austin Hooper is healthy because there's really no other tight end to throw it to because, yeah, Austin Hooper is an average tight end at best, in my opinion. So the receiving and running back set for Matt Ryan is very, very good. But the only thing that does kind of concern me is the offensive line. Yes, there's Alex Mack at center. Yes, there's Jake Matthews at tackle. But there's questions everywhere else. You got Chris Lindstrom and Caleb McGarry. They're rookie offensive linemen. And do you just expect rookie offensive linemen to just totally break out year 1? I don't think so. So I hope they do well year 1, but I just want them to... I want them to know what the NFL is like first before I just set that high of an expectation for them. And the other players like Jamin Brown, James Carpenter, they never really were excellent players. They're just fine, but they're entering a new system. So will they be okay in a new system? We don't know. I never like Wes Schweitzer. I don't like Tyson Braylo. I don't know. The offensive line to me is a little bit of a question mark. We got to see how well they play. So the offense as a whole is very, very good. Matt Ryan is an amazing quarterback. Devonta Freeman and even the running backs behind him like Ito Smith and Quadre Ollison should be pretty good for our running game. Julio Jones, Mohamed Sanu, Calvin Ridley. It's a great receiving threat. Austin Hooper, I still think is just kind of average, but the offensive line is what concerns me. But let's move on to the defense, talk about the defensive line, and I do really love it. You got Grady Jarrett. We don't need to talk about him because he got his contract extension. That kind of speaks for how good he is. But we also have Vic Beasley and Takk McKinley. And for those that already claim that they're a bust, can I just mention that the Falcons really have not used them very well? They are doing them so dirty. Vic Beasley is being moved around to different positions, and they just can't find out what he's good at. They moved him to linebacker. That was an L. They just can't find a good spot for him. And that stinks because Vic Beasley coming out of college was awesome. And I mean, if you look at him, he's like so freaking muscular. So they gotta find out what he does best. And I just hope that happens. I don't want all the Vic Beasley hate to keep spreading around. And I don't want to make it sound like I'm still continuing to hate Vic Beasley, because I'm not. I'm just letting you guys know they really have not found that perfect position for Vic Beasley yet. And it's the same with Takk McKinley. Both of them have not really lived up to their full potential. So I'm hoping that Dan Quinn stepping up as defensive coordinator, they can find the perfect position for them and what they do best, and then they'll totally break out. This defensive line will be scary if they can get things figured out, which I think they will now that Dan Quinn is defensive coordinator. And then the other players, Adrian Claiborne, he's just kind of a veteran. John Kaminsky, I do like him. He actually could maybe be like the next Grady Jarrett, how he just kind of comes out of nowhere and is a great player, but he's a rookie. We can't judge him just yet. And then there's Allen Bailey. I kind of want to slow down the hype on him. Sorry. I like him. He's not like a bad player. You know, he's a veteran. He can stop the run. But to me, it's the same situation with Dontari Poe. Like, both of those players were ex-Chiefs defensive ends that they wanted to keep so badly, but they couldn't, and they could stop the run, and they were very old. Dontari Poe ended up being very disappointing, and I don't want Allen Bailey to literally do the same exact thing. And with Allen Bailey being 30 years old, do you actually think he's going to get any better than he is now? That's where I wanted to slow down the hype. I'm like, okay, guys, I hope this isn't the next Dontari Poe, because it's literally the same situation. I just hope it's a different result. So Allen Bailey, it's not that he's a bad player. I just don't think he's as good as everyone makes him out to be. But I don't sit here and hope that he does bad. Like, I don't sit here because I want to be right about this. I want him to prove me wrong, okay? In the comment section, argue with me all you want. I don't care. I don't care if Allen Bailey is a good player or not. I want him to be good. I don't want to be right about this. I'm just telling you, hold on, we can't hope this is the next Dontari Poe. But outside of Allen Bailey and Adrian Claiborne and John Kaminsky, I love the defensive line. I think it'll be really good, but they just got to step things up a little bit and we'll be like totally elite. But we're just good for now. Linebackers, we got Deion Jones, and we all saw what happened when he was out. That was not pretty. So it's pretty clear that we need to get Deion Jones, and I'm so happy that he got his contract extension because he deserved it. So we got him back. Devonta Campbell, I like him a lot more than everyone else does. A lot of people kind of think he's not a great player, and no, he's not a superstar, but I think he's a pretty good leader out there. I think he was able to develop Foye Oluokun, who I also like, when Deion Jones was out the whole year, so it was only up to Devonta Campbell. So I think Devonta Campbell is a very good leader out there and can develop others, but he needs to step up his game just a little bit more before we can just kind of, I guess, give him a contract extension. And then we got Foye Oluokun, who's an intriguing young player. I think he could be a breakout candidate, actually. I actually have a video explaining why he could be very good this year, so I do love the linebacking core. Duke Riley is the only player. We gotta see what he can do. So far, unfortunately for him, he didn't necessarily impress anyone. So hopefully he can get things figured out. Again, he does have Dan Quinn at defensive coordinator, so maybe things will change. But on the secondary, I always used to be kind of low on this, but looking at it now I'm like a little high on it. Desmond Trufant. Everyone talks about how he doesn't get any interceptions. Well, guess what? As a corner, you don't have to grab the ball. Did you know you can just play good corner? You can cover and then swat the ball down, which is exactly what he does. If you look at my video on why Desmond Trufant is underrated, not only does he have better stats than Marshawn Lattimore, but it shows that he definitely bats the ball away a lot. He doesn't have to intercept it. So because Desmond Trufant's not getting a lot of interceptions, it doesn't mean he's a bad corner. He can still cover and swat the ball down. So don't ever say Desmond Trufant sucks, because he doesn't. Isaiah Oliver on the other corner, he's a good corner. He did not really play the position he's used to playing last year. He had to play nickel corner, which was not his thing. But now that Robert Alford is gone, they're moving Isaiah Oliver to outside corner, which is what he played in college. So watch out for him. He could be a very, very good corner year 2. And like I said with the Falcons earlier, the Falcons have a thing of improving players year 2. Well, last year was Isaiah Oliver's first year. He did terrible. Does that mean he'll get better year 2? Probably. So watch out for that. On the safety side, I guess you got Keanu Neill, who we all know how good he is, and Ricardo Allen. He's a good player. DeMonte KZ can even play some safety if one of them goes down, but he's going to play some nickel corner, which is fantastic. Last year, he didn't really even start. He just kind of had to fill in. Well, now they're purposely making him start at nickel corner. I'm not worried about if he can play nickel corner or not, because, I mean, he can play any position. He can play corner, he can play safety, he can about do everything right, and he led the league last year in interceptions, so that explains how good he is. And by the way, that's another result of DeMonte KZ had a bad year 1 and then tied the league in interceptions year 2. So whoever is entering year 2, I guess watch out for them to break out. But I do love DeMonte KZ. He'll be a good nickel corner. And then I want to talk about the corners we drafted as well. Kendall Sheffield from Ohio State. I love him, but I don't think he's going to play that much this year. And then Jordan Miller. I don't think he'll play that much a lot either this year, but just down the road he might, or maybe for a different team. But Jordan Miller, Kendall Sheffield, I don't know if they'll play a lot this year, but I do like the players, so we'll see what happens. And then the special teams, we already talked about how Giorgio Tavecchio is like an underrated kicker in like my previous episodes. Watch out for him. Matt Bosher, nobody cares about special teams. So this roster is definitely Super Bowl contending. And I mean, just watch out for this Falcons team. I think this is the best roster Matt Ryan has ever had to work with. And it's not just the players, but it's also the coaches. Going to the offensive coordinator now is Dirk Cutter. And what we saw from him in Tampa Bay was insane. You have Jameis Winston to work with, right? That's not good. Well, he still managed to make the Bucs offense in the top 3 last year. And he was able to make O.J. Howard and Chris Godwin just totally break out and even somewhat make Jameis Winston ball out. So if he can make mediocre players look good, imagine what Dirk Cutter can do to elite players. So I'm excited to see what Dirk Cutter can do here. Not only that, but he's actually worked with Matt Ryan before, so Matt Ryan should play well under him like he did before. So this offense is going to be fine like expected. This defense, though, there are a couple question marks, like will Duke Riley ever step up? Will Isaiah Oliver step up? Will Takk McKinley and Vic Beasley get the recognition they need to get, I guess? I think so, because Dan Quinn, if he was able to develop players like Richard Sherman, Bobby Wagner, Cam Chancellor, Earl Thomas, so many players on the Legion of Boom, and win a Super Bowl with them, I would not be surprised if Dan Quinn actually ends up developing these players as well. So watch out for this defense. This might be a top 5 defense in the league for 2019. So watch out for that. I do love this roster a lot. I love the coaching staff. And what surprises me, and that's really all I have to say. That's really all I have to say for this review of the Atlanta Falcons. I hope you guys enjoyed it. That was a lot quicker than I thought. But let me know what you guys think. I know maybe that wasn't my best at not struggling to say what I'm trying to say, kind of like right now. I think I'm struggling of trying to figure out how to end this. Let's just end it with, if you liked the video, smash that like button, blow up the comment section, and definitely hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any weekly content. There's new episodes every Tuesday and Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern, except this Friday. I'll be on vacation, But I will see you guys next Tuesday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern. Rise up.